45 and the weight of holding. On birthdays, broken worlds, and learning to live inside the paradox. Lately, much of my work as a transition doula has been about sitting with people in moments that don't have names yet. Thresholds that aren't dramatic enough to announce, but too tender to ignore. The space between what was and what hasn't fully arrived. Birthdays, endings, reckonings, personal and collective, often bring us here. Not to be fixed or rushed through, but to be witnessed. This kind of support isn't about having answers, it's about learning how to stay present with change as it moves through the body, the nervous system, and the story we're telling ourselves about our lives. This is the lens through which I'm entering today's reflection. I came here today intending to write about turning 45 yesterday, about candles and cake and the soft milestone of another year lived, about how my 44th year was a long exhale, a year of shedding, resting, composting old identities, a year of pulling weeds and planting seeds, a year of preparation so quiet it almost looked like nothing from the outside. I plan to write about how 45 feels like a threshold, about how I want this next season of my life and of Goddess in Training to be more sustainable, more rooted, more capable of holding the people who find their way to it, about wanting my work to expand not through hustle, but through steadiness, through depth, through truth. But this morning, the words felt flimsy, because the news out of Minneapolis broke open the day, because another person standing for justice was murdered in the street, because the collective grief and rage and fear feels so close to the surface right now that it hums in the body whether you are looking directly at it or not. And suddenly, all I could think about was last night. My family gathered around the table, laughter bouncing off the walls, games spread out, no one worried, no one bracing. The love was so present it felt almost tangible, warm, loud, uncomplicated. How could both of these things be true? How could the world be on fire in one place while my living room felt safe enough to forget, even briefly, that fire exists? This is where the paradox lives. I recorded a podcast episode this morning about paradox, about how intuition doesn't ask us to choose one truth over another. It asks us to hold, to resist the urge to collapse complexity into something tidy, to let grief and gratitude sit at the same table without demanding that one excuse or cancel out the other. 44 taught me how to sit, how to stop reaching for certainty and instead listen for what is quieter and truer, how to rest without apologizing, how to let things fall apart without rushing to rebuild them into something legible or impressive. And 45? 45 feels like the year I practiced staying awake. Awake to injustice without hardening, awake to joy without guilt, awake to love without pretending it protects me from sorrow. If this is what it means to live in paradox, to hold the weight of the world in one hand and the warmth of my family in the other, then maybe this is the work of this age. Not to resolve the tension, but to stay human inside it. Maybe sustainability for me doesn't just mean building a business that lasts. Maybe it means building a nervous system that can bear witness without shutting down. A heart that can keep breaking open and still choose love. A life that doesn't shrink in the face of darkness, but also doesn't deny its own light. So this is my birthday offering to myself, to keep telling the truth, to keep listening, to let joy be real, to let grief be real, to trust that holding both is not a failure of clarity, but a sign that I'm paying attention. I think about the modern-day goddesses among us, the women whose words will outlast all of us, the ones who alchemize the unsayable into language that gives shape to our grief, our longing, our becoming. Women who don't look away, who don't bypass the pain, who tell the truth even when it costs them something. When I don't have my own words yet, I borrow theirs, not to escape, but to keep my heart open. Today I find myself calling in Mary Gaucher, whose songwriting I've written about before, whose voice feels like a steady hand on the back during moments like this. Her song, Mercy Now, has been moving through me all day, asking for compassion without denial, tenderness without erasure. Sometimes music is how the emotion finds its way through the body when prose can't quite carry it yet. This song, the one that follows, is my offering in that lineage, unfinished, human, reaching. If this reflection resonated, if it helped you name something you've been holding quietly, I'd love to invite you a little closer. Consider liking, subscribing, or becoming a paid subscriber on Patreon or on Substack.